what's up? This is Immune Basis. The show I'm going to be talking about tonight is honestly one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows ever, and it's called Danny Phantom. Now, Danny Phantom is about a show about a kid named Danny Fenton and his friends. And basically, Danny Fenton basically walks into like a machine where it's supposed to open a ghost portal. And apparently his parents built it because they're ghost hunters. Jack and Maddie Fenton. So basically, Danny goes in on a dare by Sam and is infused with ghost powers. So he can turn into like a half ghost, half human. He's called a Haffa. So basically from then on, Danny, Sam, and Tucker fight ghosts, and then Jazz started to know about it. And then Danny had a half a cousin who was created from Danny by Vlad, who was Jack's friend in college or high school, who was also in Ghosts, and who also had a crush on Jack's wife, Maddie. And basically, Danny is another halfa, and then let's see. After that, it's just basically them fighting ghosts, and you get to meet new and other ghosts in there. So that's basically how to sum it up, because you meet different ghosts and stuff like that in the show. So that if you don't remember the show. Here's the sad part. It got canceled because Nickelodeon wanted to go into a different direction. Why cancel such a good show? Seriously, why cancel it? Now, I'm gonna have a long talk or rant here. What happened if the show came back, and how would it keep going? Okay, of course Nickelodeon. Now, here's the kicker. Before I start talking about all the things, I have actually talked to David Kaufman, the guy who did Danny Phantom's voice, and he said he'd love to do the show again, anytime. The person who didn't want the show to go on was what was his name? Butch Hartman, because he already had Fairly Odd Parents and Tough Puppy. Honestly, the Fairly Odd Parents they pretty much already had their stay in Tough Puppy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jerry Trainer's funny, but So, I'll post a link to his Facebook. Don't ask him questions about so like, hey, is it coming back or anything like that? But I'm just gonna put it in the little description box below, just to let you all know about him, and just say, hey, what's going on, and just like, say hi to him and stuff. Anyways, now for episodes, Phantom Planet opened a whole big new world for Danny Phantom saga, and that was the final episode of Phantom Planet, or movie, because Sam and Danny kissed, everybody knew about Danny and everything else. So, and of course Vlad and Skulker think they like him. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's opened so many doors now, and there you go. It ends. It's canceled. So, here is I'm going to break this up into sections for various reasons. Now, I'm going to start with the couple and pairings. Okay? Now, of course, the obvious is Danny and Sam. Of course, It's not my favorite pairing, but I will tell you later on about it. Of course, like, Danny kisses Sam. What would happen if, they started dating? How would the dating and everything would go for, if they were fighting? How would it be with high school if they had a relationship, there? How would it affect their friendship with Tucker? What would happen if the show showed 20 years later when they're all grown up and have kids? What are the kids like? Do they have ghost powers? Or is Danny still fighting? Is Sam still helping? What? Is Jack and Maddie still helping out? What's going on with Jazz, Tucker, anything like that, And, yeah. Now, I'm going to start with another one. I think that only happened a couple of times, but it kind of faded away. Danny and Valerie. Now, there's some people that do like that. I would like to see a couple of episodes where Danny doesn't, say, hey, it didn't work out with me and Sam. What, let's see like a little Danny and Valerie time. Like, what happened if they dated? What would happen if they had kids? Just so on and so forth. But, of course, she is kind of working for Vlad a little bit, but, it's kind of like, hey, what can we do from here? And then you have one of my favorite pairings. It's the whole fandom of Danny Phantom. This is the fandom. It's kind of funny. It's like Batman and Catwoman and Black Cat to Spider-Man. Now this is the one I'm going to be on for a while. Danny and I'm going to say this, but alright, Ember. Now, I've read a lot of fan fiction about Ember and Danny, and honestly, my jaw dropped, because I was like, wow, this is honestly really good, because when I go back and watch Danny Phantom, I think, I'm sitting there, I feel so bad for Ember about how her life was. I'll talk about Ember's life later. This is the whole more of Danny and, everything. Danny and Ember. So, basically what I was reading was Danny felt bad for Ember and understood the song that she sang and wanted to go out with her and stuff like that. Even though it's hard for a human and a ghost to go out, and he talks about going back in time to kind of see what Ember's life was like. I'm not talking about Ember's life right now, but I'm just saying, though. And, honestly, I think I would like to see Ember kind of have a little love affection for Danny. I would love to see the jealousy of Valerie and, Sam. And another funny thing would be, if Dash wanted, Ember or Valerie, let's see how funny that would be. Or, Paulina getting really jealous and wanting Danny. Oh, man, that'd be funny right there. Now, of course, Danny and Ember probably would make a good couple. But that's my opinion, though. But like I'm saying, though, it could work. Now, of course, I don't know how they would have kids, because I'm not going to go into detail of the fanfictions I've read, but you can pretty much picture it in your mind. I will post some fanfictions of Danny Phantom stuff for, like, if you read these, I will, to, like, different artists and stuff, not artists, authors and stuff, to this fanfictions I've read, like, this one girl. Her name is, Vivi, but she goes by, Lady in Blue. And she's made some Sam and Danny fanfics all through, so I'll put a link down there in the description box with David Kaufman, because it's really great, and then I'll, link you all to some Danny x Ember stuff. And then, of course, some Danny and Valerie stuff. Now, how about this? How about Jazz and Tucker, to be honest, that seemed like a brother and sister kind of thing. Not literally, but, you know, it's kind of interesting, though, because, I mean, Tucker's like the third wheel, though. I mean, I have not seen Jazz and Tucker hit it off, but they kind of have that connection, so that would be pretty interesting to see, like, how would they hit it off in the series? And then, yeah, so that's pretty much all the pairings I have to say, in my opinion. Now, moving on to Ember's life. Now, we don't know much about Ember, but honestly, they should have every ghost's life profiled. Like, how did they die and everything? Like the box ghost, like how did he die? Did he die from boxes crumbling him in a box factory? Or how did Skulker die? How did Clockwork die? How, you know, all this stuff. You know, it'd be pretty cool to see the life of them, but honestly, I think Ember is really special for some reason. I don't know why. But, to be honest, Ember, if you know, You Will Remember, or something like that, I have it here on iTunes. It is, yes, it is Remember. Basically, it talks about her love life in September. Her boyfriend basically dumped her or got what he wanted from her, and she committed suicide, or somehow her apartment caught fire in December. So basically, she was like in the 70s. Honestly, it's kind of sad though, because Ember, honestly, I feel really bad for her. She deserves a second chance. I mean, wow. I honestly think that, you know, she deserves a second chance. And, yeah. So, to be honest, I think there might be some good in Ember, to be honest. It's just, she just needs to find that one person. I think Danny could be the one. But that's just my opinion, though. So, of course, like, you know, Vlad. Why don't we have a little bit more of Vlad? Like, you know, of course there's like the fan fictions I've read, sorry, talk about different powers. Like Vlad had like a crown and a ring, and it made him super powerful, and it killed Danny, and his friends had to go on a quest to save him. You know, those are pretty cool things to think about, but even though it's a kid's show. But, you know, cool things like that. Like, you know, why can't we use elements from the fan fiction into the show? Because that could, you know, bring a whole more broad of audience and a whole bunch more story to it, is what I'm saying. And, of course, you know, Danny is, like, probably, let's see, he was born in 88, 89. He'd probably be 20. Let's see. He would be 22, 23 right now. So, yeah, whoever he got married to, what happened if Danny got older, you know? What happens if he changes, you know? Is he still fighting? Is he powerful? You know, everything like that. And, of course, what about a little bit more of Dan? You know, and of course Danny. What happened if Danny got older? What would you know, she be like if she was fighting? You know, and what would her powers be like? Does she have new powers or what? You know. I mean, how would Jack and Maddie honestly think about the whole thing? Could they still cope with it or what? I mean, do they still hunt for ghosts with Danny or you know what? And, of course, what would happen with Tucker, Sam, and everybody else, and, of course, Jazz. So, there's a lot of things that are still left unsaid and everything else. Of course. And, of course, Danny getting new powers. So, Alright guys, this is Emmy and Basis. I talked about Danny Phantom, and I hope they bring this show back because I would love it. So I will put links to David Kaufman and a few other fanfics into the description box. And alright guys, this is Emmy and Basis. I talked and or ranted about Danny Phantom, and hope you all have a good day or night when you're watching this. Thank you.